Hello everyone and welcome back to this our community data behind data. We were talking about where does data store, and just for a little recap, we define data as a set of facts. Yeah, facts that define an entity. We said that each entity has attributes and that those attributes are properties of that entity, right? And we also said that we have three main categories of data that are structured. We have also the unstructured and the semi-structured. So we said that we have these three categories. In a nutshell, we describe structured data as data stored in tabular form. It adheres to a fixed schema. The unstructured are disparate data which doesn't have any kind of schema, and the semi-structure has some common properties. It means that it has kind of a structure, but it is not rigid. We have the example of the Json files where you have the key and then for that key corresponds a value. That will be, in a nutshell, a recap of the last video. So where does data store? We have to understand that file storage is a fundamental aspect of any computing system, and this data can be stored either on a local storage, meaning, for example, on your local file system, or on an external facility, like, for example, the USB driver. In many organizations, important data are stored centrally in a shared storage facility. And more, this central storage location is hosted in the cloud. Probably have heard about the cloud. And we're gonna talk about the cloud in the further videos, but just like a brief introduction, we can see the cloud like a large, secure, and reliable room or warehouse that can store large volumes of data in an effective way. One important thing to keep in mind is the type of the file format that is gonna be stored. What I mean by this, I know we're gonna store data, but how are we gonna store that? So it depends on so many aspects. For example, it depends on the type of the data it's gonna be stored. We have talked about the categories, so we can have structured data, unstructured, or semi-structured. It also depends of the application and services that we'll need to read and write that data. For example, it is not the same to storage data that has to be streamlined, that you need to process and to visualize or something in real time. That data that are now it's gonna be uploaded in batch. And another thing to keep in mind is the need for the data files to be readable by humans or to be optimized for efficient storage and processing. And we have talked about a cloud, right? The cloud can storage a large volume of data, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna just throw everything that you receive in any kind of way. And each cloud architecture has some file formats that you have to follow in order to storage your data in the more optimized way. Also, because once that data is on the cloud, you also have to retrieve that data. So it is not, maybe you have uploaded a video in a kind of format that it's gonna take too long to just retrieve when you need it. So those are some aspects that we have to keep in mind. You might realize that understanding the file format in which data is gonna be stored, it is important. So let me explain you which are the main categories of this. The first category that I want to talk with you is the limited text files. These file formats are used to store data as text, and within that text, each value is separated by a character known as delimiter. A delimiter, think of it as a character or a set of characters that specify the boundary of that value. And the most popular file format in this case, we have the CSV files. And as you might figure out by the name, it is text that delimiter is a comma. You can see that each field is separated by the comma, and the first line, it's often, or it can be optionally, the field names. For example, the column names. For example, if we have a spreadsheet which attributes or fields are age, height, and weight, once that we export that data as a CSV file, we're gonna have a txt file, we will have in the first line a comma height or h comma w, followed by the for example the values. In this case, I don't know, if I have 10, 5 and 40, we will have 10, then we have 5, and finally we will have 40, and so on and so on. The second category is the JSON file. The JSON file we have presented previously in the channel, and JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And this is a widely data format used to represent data in a hierarchical schema. These objects or entities can have multiple attributes, as we saw in the example, and sometimes one of those can be an object itself. So that is called a nested JSON file, but I can do a whole video explaining JSON files if you want. Just leave that in the comments below and I'll do it. Then we have the XML files, or Extensible Markup Language. It's a data format that encodes data in a form that it is both human readable and machine readable. It's kind of a interesting merge between JSON files and HTML code. It's kind of, XML uses tags in an angle brackets just to define elements and attributes, where an element is a logical component of the data, and an attributes, as we have defined, are properties that define characteristics of the element. In this case, we can see customers by the angle brackets, followed by name, that is the tag, equals to the name, that in this case is Joy, then last name equal to, and the value of the last name. So you have the hierarchical kind of schema, and also you define the attributes of those elements. Just as a disclaimer, or this is just kind of a brief introduction or overview of the common data types. This video is not going so deep in understanding each of those, mainly because you might already know them, or you might already be working with them, or on the other hand, I can do a whole video talking about them and understanding and where we can find those kind of files formats for you guys. So just leave that in the comments below and I'll do it for sure. And as we discussed before, unstructured data has become so common, and the thing here is that most of this unstructured data, it is upload or it is storage in a raw way. What I mean by raw way is that meaning that there is no kind of mapping in the file. And when working with binary data like this, data professionals often refer to that data file as blobs. In technical words, a blob is a collection of binary data stored as a single entity in a database. Blobs are typically used to hold multimedia objects such as images, videos, and audio. In technical words, blobs stands for binary large objects, and they are a type used to store binary data such as images, audio, videos, and so on, and other multimedia files. Blobs are typically used when you need to store a large amount of unstructured data within a database. And this concept is important because we will face it in the cloud stage. So for example, within Microsoft Azure, you have something called a blob storage. And for me, these are the most common file formats. Also, we have the XLSX, that are the Excel files, but we have some file formats remaining. And those file formats are the ones that are optimized for the storage, as we have discussed before in this video, where we have Parquet files, we have the Avro files, we have the ORC files. I don't want to make this video so large and so overwhelming, but I don't want this video to be so overwhelming, so I'll save that video for later when we have a most widely understanding of more concepts. So that will cover all about the file formats. Just to a recap, it is important to keep in mind in what data file format is gonna be stored that data, and that depends on many factors, including the if it is gonna be optimized for some kind of feature or system, which kind of data you're gonna store, if it is structured, unstructured, and other things. Just keep that in mind. Within these file formats, we have the JSON files, we have the CSV files, we have the XML, the blobs one. Let me know if there's something that maybe I can improve in the videos. I'm doing my best, I promise, and I know that I'm gonna be improving myself in the next videos. But thank you for watching. I hope all the concepts now you have them clear, and any kind of doubt, don't hesitate in just put the comment below, and I'll be pleasure to answer your question. And remember, stay curious, hold the vision, stay data driven, and welcome to Data Behind Data.
Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle on.